Blakey and Tux, they're talking Cardiff City and some other stuff. Blakey and Tux, Dolly asked the questions on Blakey's Bootroom. Will always be blue.
Hello and welcome back to another Blakey's Bootroom. I'm Gareth Rogers, with me Nathan Blake, Steve Tucker. Once again we're talking Cardiff City.
He's excited.
Blakey's excited and Cardiff City have won. I sense we're going to have a good show.
Aye. Well, I hope so. Win's a win.
So 2-0 win, Steve. It's all back on track, isn't it?
It was a big win. Obviously, they needed it after the Leeds turnaround and the incredible goal drought of 2015 that looked like it was stretching on for eternity. Very welcome. I think I said on here last week. This period now, for me, it's like. Can you see that? See what I'm doing?
I guess what you're doing, yeah.
It's a pivotal.
Yeah. You can tilt one way or
pivot.
the other.
Yeah. I thought that, a real danger not getting anything against Reading. Suddenly you're looking that, okay, sixth is 5 points off and then Derby and all that. But done the right thing, closed it back up again, and a very welcome 3 points for Russell Lander, boys.
Blakey, Kenwyn's back. The lopsided 4-4-2 is gone. Playing with two wingers, and it paid dividends. You almost prophesied it.
Yeah, well, it's,
we have to thank Blakey for the
I
win
think
now.
so.
Do we?
I think
All right,
so,
okay,
yeah.
I will.
So you should.
Thanks, mate.
That's all right.
Good
He's
win,
been
mate.
banging this drum for.
Consider it just part and parcel of what I do.
I was wondering what it was you did.
I do tend to, reason we're on the show is because, I do know the game a bit. So,
why am I on here then?
Just to make up the numbers. It's just me and Gaz, really.
Good sidekick material.
No, it's to me, it's like it's staring them right in the face. The manager will probably say, "Oh, well, he's been injured and what have you." But my point has always been, you've never treated him as a number one. Very rarely can I remember a time where Kenwyn's been treated as, the top dog striker. Top dog strikers. You wouldn't treat Alan Shearer at Newcastle the same as you would treat, I don't know, Nathan Blake if he played for Newcastle. He just, he was the number one. So my point is, for me, he is the number one, and you let him know it, and you kind of build your system around him. It's as simple as that. I think he's that important to the team, and I think, from speaking from experience with all footballers I played with or know. When the manager trusts them and shows faith in them, they tend to step up a gear again. So rather than playing, good, they play very good or great. So that's that extra bit of confidence. But for me at the moment, Kenwyn is giving the team confidence when he plays. It was. I think it was clear, it was evident.
It can't be a coincidence that he gets injured, he doesn't play, they can't score, he comes back, they score.
And it all
That's
looked
not a
too
coincidence,
easy.
is it?
It all looked too easy. Chip the ball in the box, heads it in the net.
It's an easy game.
Why haven't you been?
Well,
trying
the marking for that opening goal was absolutely ridiculous.
But
he had to get the space and all that, but it was a free header. It was like if they were going to get.
The point is though, who else scores that goal?
Yeah.
No,
that's right.
I agree. He really is. But let's not forget. This is not like slag off Russell Slade show. Although that's where I'm thinking of changing the title. Forget Blakey's with the slag. No,
normally
he didn't even start the season with. Kenwyn, did he?
That was my point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, I remember that was a really good column. I remember that you talking about you treat these guys with respect. They're the number one, and so that if you want anything to question the manager, you kind of
it's like saying to Marshall. That's what I mean. Like saying to Marshall, I'm not sure between you and.
That's what I mean. It looks slightly.
Come on, man. He's the number one keeper. I know he got sent off a few months ago. And I said, you know, he'll make up that. He'll bring us
already
back
has,
points.
hasn't he?
And he already has in
Blimey,
abundance.
where would they be without
so
him?
there was people saying, he wants to go. But you always get that reaction. It's an instantaneous reaction from fans. And, you know, when they calm, when the dust settles a bit, they then start to think a bit. But first of all, they're like, get him out. Whereas, you know, we're not in that situation. We're on the outside a bit more. So we can afford, or just the way I am, I'm a bit more reflective. I'm not going to be, you know, one loss and get the manager out, one win. He's the greatest ever.
Hey, that's my job. You got your rag on mine. The reactionary.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that Noon stepped up.
Yeah.
In
Well,
knowing that he has that ball to put in to someone who's, you know, for me, he not only gives the whole team confidence, and I think that spreads out then to the fans because they feel when he's playing, they think, we got a much better chance of winning. So
who's this?
The fans.
Kenwin.
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
I thought you were talking about Marshall.
We'll come back
which
to
also they
Marshall
got a
now.
better chance.
Well, with Marshall, they feel the same.
Yeah.
You know,
We'll come back to Marshall. He's obviously he's a talking point all of his own.
Yeah.
But everyone's talking about this changing system and Whittingham's enforced absence. Joe Rawls coming in, provides 2 assists, runs the midfield up and down. Noon benefited from this because he could stay out wide on the right, and Pilkington came in on the left.
Balance again, yeah.
My point is,
here he comes, fisherman.
didn't they fall upon this by accident because Peter Whittingham got himself suspended?
But that often happens. You think back, how often does that happen? You think I always think of that with Dave Jones. The same. I'm not singling out Jones, but I always remember Chris Gunter.
Yeah,
couldn't buy a game.
Yeah.
Do you remember he was in the stand? He wasn't even on the bench. He was in the stands, and then I think they had a little run of injuries, and he was brought in. And he's like, who's this kid? You know, he's brilliant. So sometimes you do need that. It's it's sometimes difficult when you've decided on your system and all the components are available to you to make the decision to consciously change. I think when it's forced upon you, as it has been with Whittingham, suddenly it's like, ooh, this is it. And what does he do now? Can't change it.
Well,
back.
this is it.
Well, you don't change a winning side, do you? Isn't that the old
This is
saying?
what he said. I mean, me and Blakey spoke about this a bit yesterday. I mean, going on back to some other stuff we spoke about, how Rawls had almost sacrificed himself having to play out on the left-hand
side.
Isn't it great to see him come in and just...
Well, I like Joe because he plays forward as a striker. That's a striker's dream, really. It's nothing worse than the crab midfielder who goes side to side.
Yeah.
But you know, I've maintained for a long time. I think we need more in that central midfield. Whether Joe is the answer or not, we just don't know because he's never been given that sort of responsibility to take that position on. Because you know, you can say what you like, but centrally, straight down your pitch, you're supposed to have your main players.
Yeah.
You know, from goalkeeper to centre half to centre mid to centre forward. That's the backbone. Everybody knows that. Now, I understand probably the predicament the manager was in, having the experience of Peter Whittingham against the youthfulness of Rawls. So rather than split them, he's trying to, you know, fit both of them into one team. But then what that does is sacrifice any sort of pace going forward out wide, because neither player is what you would deem as a winger who's going to get outside his fullback and get crosses in. So they're both going to come inside and kind of be doing the same sort of thing, and Joe's going to drift more inside because that's where he wants to be. It's like the striker who's asked to play right wing. He will gradually drift inside and make him a second striker, you know. It's really because you just revert the type.
Totally
But it's weird, isn't it? Because
in
it's
the
true.
game.
You look at, I mean, the classic example is like England at international level for all those years. Sometimes your best players all put together are not the best side, are they?
Well, that's a classic, isn't it?
You know, I mean, because remember England were trying to bolt all those people in Beckham, blah, blah, yeah.
Well, the best players
it was like, my God, Gerrard or Lampard.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not your best players. So, I mean, Whittingham, I mean, there's no doubt he's probably the classiest act at the club in many ways and proven it down the years, but does he, you know, the question, does he fit in the side?
Exactly, he should never be made a 4-back-4 guy. Something else he said a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about Gunnarsson and how he needs a few games to bed himself in. Well, Saturday we saw the benefit of that. Now he's played 3 or 4 games. Yeah. He was all energy alongside Rawls.
Fitness levels up.
It looked totally different.
Yeah.
Well, Rawls would have played a big part in that.
And it will. You know, Aaron, you know, for all said and done, for me, I've always said Aaron's just, you know, he can get forward, but I like him as that holding midfielder, but I like someone then alongside him who likes to spray it about a bit. Do you know what I mean? And but the person next to him also has to have a lot of you've got to have energy in there. You've got to have legs in there. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
And my point was with Peter, he's not the energetic kind of middle midfielder. He's the kind of, if you play you better play him in a 3, and he can hold and spray, or you can almost give him no responsibility. Do you know what I mean? He can hold as a 6, and then if you rotate, Gunnarsson can hold and he can step into midfield, and because he's such a great passer of the ball. But in a 2, it's going to be difficult for him.
Where does this start?
And Gunnarsson, he was, for me, needed to get. It was clear he hadn't played a first team game for ages, and then he comes straight in, and people go, "Oh, he's not too well."
We did, didn't we?
Are you saying like we're reactionary? Get him off!
No. But
Get him off.
It does take time to get up.
So this raises a nice little conundrum. Then
It is
Gunnarsson,
but
Dekashwi.
isn't that Gunnarsson, Dekashwi, Rolls, and Whittingham? Do you know what I mean? It's that's what you want as a manager.
But to put you on the spot, Dekashwi will be fit after the international break. Does he come in for Gunnarsson alongside Rolls?
I've said before, I'd play a totally different system. I'd play Dekashwi as a 6 who never rotates and never gets forward.
Okay.
He's my ball. I have my 2 full-backs who can push on in a back 4, and I'd have Gunnarsson and Rolls ahead of them.
Well, okay, but humour me. Say in Slade's system as he's got now, would you? Don't look at me like that.
He's not going to change the system.
He was looking down his nose. No, would you? Now when it's a long way down as well. Would you bring in Dekashwi for Gunnarsson, for example? Do you think that might?
No, I wouldn't bring Dekashwi in for Gunnarsson.
You keep him out.
Yeah.
Keep that there.
Now is you've seen him build up to a level of fitness, and now he's on it. I wouldn't then take him out of it. It's now for Dekashwi, if he's going to stick with 2, Dekashwi has to wait his turn.
Yeah.
That's the nature of the beast.
Yep.
And it keeps everybody on their toes. Now, that means in training, Dekashwi knows he's got to be at it week in, week out.
Yeah.
And if that means until the end of the season and Gunnarsson don't get injured or doesn't have like 4 or 5 poor performances, he doesn't get back in, I'm afraid.
Gunnarsson's had to sit down.
Correct. All the manager changed the system.
He's the captain of
Once you've
Iceland,
got the shirt, this is the whole point of competition.
I think there's
You've
more
got
chance of someone getting injured than the manager changing the system.
I mean, to be fair, his default setting has been Whittingham and Dekashwi. He goes to Derby away next, which is a crunch game if you look at the table.
Yeah, it is a massive
really
game.
need to get something there. Does he really go? Does he really move that far away from his?
Well, this is the point of having more than one system, Gaz, which I say, like for me now, going to Derby, 2 months ago, I would have gone there to, run all over them. They're in a different place than they were a couple of months ago. They're now confidence up.
Yeah, they're a serious team.
Belief. They're a serious.
Well, they lost Friday. But
but they got it. So you now approach it with a bit more caution. Yeah. So that's the prime time for me to go right. Gunnarsson or Dekashwi, you sit. 2 in front. So I play a 5-man midfield, a back 4 and 1 up front, and my 2 wingers. But this is why I say the importance of pace, because they need to be, they need to really get up and down to support the front man. But I would go Dekashwi as my sitter or Gunnarsson as my sitter, and Rowles and Dekashwi or Gunnarsson ahead of them.
Yeah.
But I would play a back 4, and I would be conservative, especially for the first half. I would be very solid, hard to beat, and make sure you pass it well, and you counter attack more than anything else. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I'll be working on now for the next 2 weeks: counter attack, release. But I would then play Amiobi and people like that.
Yeah.
I would play pace now. If Manchester City can go away in Europe and drop one of the best players in the world at this moment in time in De Bruyne to get a result, that's what I'm saying. The game has changed now. You have to
But you say
put
this,
a lot more thought in it.
You're putting all this forward. You know Slade's not going to do it, though.
I know, but if you
know,
watch
he's
the
not
show,
gonna-
even if he takes an inkling and he puts
No,
it into practice,
I
and
find it
works, it's
fascinating,
great.
but it's purely hypothetical, because you know what he's going to do. He's
Yeah,
going to
but
go 4-4-2. He's probably going to play the same
I know what you
side
mean,
then.
but we can't.
No, you can't be beholden to that.
We can't. Yeah.
Okay.
This is what I
You
say.
wanna
To,
discuss
a lot
it,
of
yeah.
people say, no, not a lot
What
of fans
you
don't
do?
say, but you get one or two people from the club thinking like, oh, we're here to cause trouble. We give more advice, and I guarantee you, I see things happening. I see Russell Slade do things, and I think to myself, yeah, I know where that idea's come from, but that's just fine and dandy. If it works, great.
That's the point,
if it don't, he can say, oh, it was Nathan Blake suggested it.
Blakey.
That's all we want. None of us, at the end of the day, we all want to see Cardiff in the Premier League doing really well.
Yeah.
None of us want to see the club going backwards.
That's absolutely true.
So
No doubt about that.
until the whole situation is galvanised, and even if we were in the Premier League and we were sat in 6th place and we lost the game, we're here to critically analyse the game.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Don't take it personal.
That's it.
If you're dispensing advice, then tell them to win more games. If they've got to take any of your advice.
While we're on Mr. Slade, I've been dying to ask this question from Steve to Steve for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Is Tucker friends with Slade now after the little spat they had? Lol.
What was the spat?
No, I
Share it
mean,
with
I was
our
just
guests,
I
man.
was just at the press conference pre-Reading.
When you had that bruise on your cheek.
Yeah. It's like, it was all right when stop fighting on the floor. No, I just asked him a few. I said, not popular amongst fans.
Oh, he's not popular.
Well, on social media, there'd been a lot of Slade out and all that. So I said, does that disappoint you? Well, he didn't take it that well. It was a little bit of a confrontation, and we had a chat. But no, I'm fine. I mean, I can't speak for Russell Slade, but I'm fine. I just
Russell Slade. I mean, you've had. I mean, I do recall Mr. Jones stopping me once. Like I was like me and you were brothers or something. I
thought we were brothers, huh?
Yeah, we are that. But he was like, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, you can't really repeat that. You can't repeat what he said.
I can't repeat that.
You couldn't repeat what he said if this was on at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't think. I've had lots of running. I mean, my own personal point of view is, ask tough questions. Yeah, there's no point in being there otherwise. I'm not going to say. I don't want to sit in and go, well, how brilliant are you? How this? I just want to ask.
He challenged us to run another poll after they'd won, which we did.
Yes.
And it yielded similar results, shall we say?
What did I say? 85-15?
It was worse than that.
Okay.
What, for him to go?
Yeah. We stuck another little poll in Blakey's column today after, because we were talking about it yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was similar, if not worse, than it was before the win. So
Perhaps
So what did I say? What did I say about it, Gaz?
they're being hijacked.
For Russ, listen, if you watch and you read, take out when people are trying to help, their advice. Don't think it was a situation where John Terry had a go at Sam, didn't he, the other day?
Yeah.
And all the press laughed. Now I'm saying, like, that's okay, but none of the press people have ever won anything. So when they criticise him, it doesn't make sense. I think Sam was a bit of an easy target there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know John Terry's probably angry that, at the situation they're in, but, it happens. Do you know what I mean? I always say, just focus on your job. It's like each Saturday is to go into a game. People say, oh, do you know you're playing again? No, I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't matter. They're still going to be there. It's not good saying, well, I'm playing against Gaz this week. Oh, I hope he's injured. No, I'm playing against Gaz. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's playing. You just got to go out and deal with it. So my point was for Russell Slade to just, it's difficult. I know, because no one likes to be criticised. No one. Decipher from separate that who's trying to help and give advice to that who's just nailing
destabilising.
I can see that.
And at the end of the day, he's not going to change opinion.
Well, you can see why he would
That
be
has
frustrated.
to change only through results. That's the only thing that's going to change.
You say that, but I mean, I'm not here to defend him in any way. Sure, he could more than capable of defending himself, as he proved to me the other day. But you can see where he must sit at night, kind of having his coke or whatever, and think, hang on. I've gone in there, I had to dismantle like a 38-man squad, you know what I mean? I had to shave 12 million off the bill.
Did you say this to him on Friday?
No, I didn't. No, it was much more of an attack. It was much more of an attack. But no,
That wasn't really the sort of attack.
All I'm saying is, you can forgive him for sitting there going, I got them 7th in the table, 2 points or whatever, 3 points off the playoffs, and still they want me out. You know, you can understand the frustration. There must be. I don't blame the guy.
I'm looking at these comments now.
Give us some of the boys.
Everybody's saying it's because of Marshall. It's because he had to drop Whittingham. This was forced upon him. He got
this is the problem. This is the problem when you're not popular, isn't it? Everything is nothing to do with you. You know, it's always it's because of this, because of that.
Anything positive, you mean?
Yeah, anything positive. It was you know, Malky when he was so amazingly popular. That even if he was forced, it was brilliant by Malky. You know, he took so and so out. Even if people would just ignore that so and so was injured with him because he was popular, and Russell hasn't got that. And that, you know, and I can totally understand why you would be annoyed by that.
I think part of it is as well, Tux, when you say Russell's sitting at home thinking like, what have I got to do? I think sometimes as well, when you hear his after the match interviews, you think to yourself, well, that's not a true reflection of the game. You're kind of like skating around a lot of the problems, and you might have like won 1-0 against like Middlesbrough, but you've been under the cosh massively. You've struggled. You know, there's clearly a problem. You know, you can't keep saying to Marshall, pull off 4 or 5 worldies every game. It's going to come a point where Marshall doesn't pull off 4 or 5 worldies. Then what do you do? Where do you go? You know, you do have to. I always say you can't mug the fans off, mate. You can say what you like. If you're truthful in your opinion, and no one's expecting you to say, we had an absolute nightmare. You dress it up a bit, yeah, of course you do.
Because nobody's that honest,
nobody's that honest.
Really,
but I would always say, to touch on the points where, you know, we are still conceding too many chances.
Yeah, well, definitely.
Yeah, Marshall's still having to make too many saves.
But
you mentioned that, but what you don't say is, Marshall. What you don't say is, we've won like 2-0, and you know it's been a great performance, and you know I thought we had better the game, more possession, blah blah, and totally ignore the fact that on chances created, we were majorly under the cosh. There's one point where Marshall made like 3 boom, boom, boom saves back to back. Do you know what I mean?
One at the end of the first half, down low.
Right.
That was beautiful.
So you're thinking to yourself, what happens is when you speak after the game, then the fans listen to it. They go, well, you're not being honest. Yeah, it's
but you say that about the defence. How many clean sheets is it now, though?
Yeah,
that's not like the way we're talking. That's not just a coincidence. That's not just down to Marshall for a start, although he's played a big part in it. What, 5 clean sheets or 6 clean sheets? From what I've seen, no, it's not. I mean, defensively, they're very good.
Okay.
Is any side that's done? What is it now? 6 clean sheets. Surely any side that's kept clean 6 sheets, clean sheets. You would have to say defensively is doing a good job. You'd have to.
Yeah, okay. We can accept that. I mean, Bob from Cumbrander comes in with a really nice post. Give Slade some slack. He has a right to respond to the press. If he doesn't, he's accused of not having enough passion. He takes the flak instead of his players, who, after all, had the chances at Leeds but didn't take them. In other words, they didn't do their job they were paid for. And again, that must be frustrating because this is a really good side. And especially at Leeds, they really underperformed at Leeds on Tuesday night. And I was talking to my dad about it. He said, well, that's not Slade's fault. You can't blame Slade. Those players out there, and Kenwyn Jones and Marshall, we're all playing in this game.
Isn't it always the same? I mean, we've been seeing this morning, waking up with people saying Gary Monk at Swansea is going to get fired. John Joe Shelby's not going to get fired. You know what I mean? I'm not just saying that. Gylfi Sigurdsson's not going to get fired. It is, isn't it? It's always, I suppose the argument could be made that the manager, he picks the side, he sets up the side, he motivates the side. So if they are underperforming, he manages the side.
The buck
I suppose,
stops the manager.
Well, yeah, it's like any department, I suppose.
Look at prime example, Mourinho and Chelsea right now. You're not motivated like you were last season. Now, the manager can't say, well, I motivated them last season when we won the league. But this season we're struggling, and so it's not me. I didn't motivate them. It's down to them. You can't have it both ways. That's what I'm saying. When the success comes, we all love the pat on the back. But when, the negative press comes, you got to, like I say, you got to be waterproof to it. You just got to let it bounce off you if you can. It's difficult. Nobody likes it. You wouldn't like being criticised. I don't like it. You wouldn't like it. That's just the way of the world. But, you know, in football, it comes every game, even when you win.
Well, clearly, that pressure never goes away, does it? Like we were talking about yesterday. In this division, with this season, with this poor championship, if they don't make the playoffs, it's a failure.
I think with that squad, yeah, it would be deemed
You know,
as
let's be
a
honest.
massive failure, not just a failure. I would say it's a massive failure.
Yeah. That's
I did
pressure.
say I think they finished around about 8th because I honestly believe that's around about where they'll finish.
Yeah.
But if you ask me if they got the ability to win the league, hands down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then that goes down to players, coaching staff.
Yeah.
You know, what are the reasons? Let's look at the reasons at the moment why we're not.
Unbalanced formations, fitness, all these things we've spoken about in recent
Why are we
injuries.
not having a continual push at this? Are there reasons behind it? Well, you know, it's no good pretending that those problems don't exist, because, you know, I've played the game, I know they exist. I can see when a player's blowing at 70 minutes, you know, you're struggling. Yeah, you know what I mean? You're struggling, and it's, you know, you still got 20 minutes to play, which I'm saying teams who go on to win championships and win leagues always finish strong. The levels of the fitness levels are always, or 9 times out of 10, above others.
Yeah.
That's why they finish top.
The late
'Cause
goals,
right, they continually go for 95 minutes, 96
keeping
minutes.
concentration at the back, not conceding late goals.
Yes. So there is something to be said. Now, if it's no good sitting in 7th or sitting in 6th, 7th and saying we're 3 points outside the playoffs and everything's rosy, even if you were top, I'd still be saying there's something you can do. There's always something you can do.
I mean, Roy's asking, he said, you know, you boys say you want Cardiff in the Premier, but do you really think Slade can not only get us there, but keep us there? Even more pressure.
Yeah. Well, it's because that comes down, that's a great point, because, you know, it comes down to then, that's why, we know, a lot of fans would have voted against Slade on that poll, because they don't believe he's capable of winning the championship then, or getting promoted out of the championship. Why? Because he's never done it before, and he's been a manager for a long, long time. Now, if he'd done it 15 years ago, or you can always point as a pack, say, well, he's done it once, so he just needs to find a way to do it again. But stranger things have happened. Other managers have come in with no experience, taken over teams, and gone and got promoted. It can be done. So, you know, it's down to Russell to prove
There's one.
his
I mean,
critics wrong. It's as simple as that.
Talking about
There's nothing gives you better pleasure than that. Sorry, Tugs, as a person, when you put someone in their place or prove them
But
wrong.
it's hard not to have this defence mechanism that came
Everyone's
out
got
of him
it.
on
Talking about finishing 7th or 8th or whatever as a failure, I would say that wasn't a failure this season. You know, you're saying not getting in the playoffs, finishing 7th. I would say that was obviously an improvement on, you know, a platform. But having said that, there's one aspect of the whole thing that worries me with Slade, is when you look at his transfer window dealings. What you would say, you had got a manager there and they finished 11th this year and they finished 7th, you know, a point off the player. You think, right, come on, let's go again.
Yeah.
You know, we got the summer now to build. He's finally getting his stuff in place to build on. Problem is that Slade said, I will put the big caveat in that he hasn't had the money that previous managers have had. You look at the players he's brought in, they can't. None of them can get near his own first team.
You've got to question that.
He's been continually being proven wrong. You know, he tries to start the season with Malone instead of Fabio until Fabio comes in and goes, well, look, why the hell aren't I playing? So the point I'd make is if they finish 7th, I'm not quite sure I would be that confident of thinking, come on, we're going to go on again then. He'll bring in a few more, he'll bring in a couple more to add what he's got. And this year, next season now, it's into the playoffs, or maybe even better. I'm just not sure you can say that about Slade.
I also think with the transfer committee, how much is he having to do with this? And we've just had the rumours now of Liam Bridcut from Sunderland. I mean, Slade's never mentioned anything like that he's even looking for a player in that position. You think, what was his involvement in this sort of thing?
Well, what is the recruitment?
Yeah, what is the recruitment?
It's no good. This is it. It's no good to saying, you know, I'll no disrespect, but I send Tux to go and have a look at a player. Tux isn't going to have the eye what I need as a manager to go and... Now, you can send Bellamy to go and view a player, because he knows what the intricacies are.
I believe he thinks Bellamy knows more about the game than me.
But, you know, it's not a case of, you know, just doing it. it's got to be, you know, you've got to look at the player, you've got to look at his background, you've got to look at his health, his medical records, how many games he's played, do you know what I mean? Is he trustworthy? What's his work rate? What's his, you know, there's so much. What's his family background? Is he married? What kind of stock does he come from? All these things.
These are the Malky portfolios, aren't they?
All these things when you're recruiting, you know, I know because I'm speaking from experience, I do it for somebody, so I know what I'm talking about and what managers look for in modern day football. It's not like when I was playing, you have a good season, highlights, managers look and then think, well, I'll take a punt. You know what I mean? It's far more, and a few managers done their homework on you back in the day, but you know, there is a tendency, and almost every point of football, it's become layered. Do you know what I mean?
Well, how would this one work? Let's take Bridcut as an example. He's playing for Sunderland, can't get in the team. He's going to go to Leeds a week ago. This is almost a done deal. Suddenly the deal's not done. Would like an agent come in and then say, oh, well, the Leeds thing hasn't come off. Cardiff, do you want him? Reading, do you want him?
That might be the case. But, you know, Cardiff have got to buy what they need. And that then comes down to the manager having his philosophy and how he's going to structure his team and what strategy he's going to use. So is Bridcut going to give me more than the 4 midfielders, central midfielders I've already got?
Especially having we've discussed how they're improving, and suddenly he's got one that clicked.
Right, now all he's doing is
cut in and not play him.
Right, all he's doing is giving himself another problem. Is that the main problem of your team? Well, it might be, it might not be. That's down to his opinion. Personally, I keep saying right now, I'd be thinking pace. Because between Dekashri, Gunnarsson, Whitnam, Riles, and there's probably 1 or 2 in the under-21s who can all play that central position, I think we lack pace on the width. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nino, he's the trickster.
Yeah.
Pilkington, I think those two are very similar. I think we need the out-and-out, the flyer.
Well, Amiobi's that.
Amiobi's the flyer, but we keep getting this question mark, is he fit, is he match fit, which I just do not get. I don't know how players at the team since the beginning of the season, including pre-season as well, or they come just after pre-season.
He joined a week into the Dutch trip,
so pre-season as well.
Oh no, he went to the thing just before.
So he played to Shrewsbury, didn't he?
And he's not match fit. That just doesn't. There's a glitch in my matrix with that. I just can't work that out. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's nonsense. If the manager, you train. Now, if the manager doesn't deem you fit enough, he doubles you up. That doesn't change. Some things in football traditionally just don't change. If you're not fit enough, guys, you're going to do extra running. Yeah. It's as simple as that.
There's a pair of trainers, off you go.
Yeah, extra work, get in the gym. You might even do like 3 sessions. You might do a morning session, afternoon session in the pool, and do an evening session. That's the way it is. But it'll only take a fortnight maximum.
So what were we talking? We're talking like bleep test results, thing.
Whatever, and then get yourself
cardiovascular fitness,
and then get yourself up into match speed. So what I would say is, because he's bound to be fit enough to play 45 minutes. So I would say, okay, 60 minutes is the start, and I'm going to build him from 60 to 90. You see it all the time. Players come back off injury. Gunnarsson, you've seen it.
Yeah.
You've seen his fitness level go up over 3 games.
He's never been sure. The fitness aside, I don't think Slade's ever been sure how to actually use Amiobi.
Which is a problem.
Why buy him?
Exactly.
And did he?
Why bring him in?
Yeah, no, I know.
That's
did he bring him in?
Did he? That's one thing.
This is the situation at the club. Yeah. Nobody knows.
Well, if I had to say anything about that transfer thing, I mean, one thing. The interesting thing is that guy at the Belgian club, remember, saying I did the Idris Sardi deal, which is very telling. You know, a guy at another club owned by Tan saying I brokered the deal. I'm not saying Slade didn't want him, but this guy played a very, basically saying I did the deal.
Well, he was the one that knew him as a player.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, anyway, I mean, that's not bad, such a thing, because you take advice from all quarters. Bringing them in, I would imagine Slade obviously is at the forefront of that, really. The one aspect I think he has absolutely no control over is losing them. I think. How many times in the transfer window asked about Marshall did he go, we'll have to see, you know, what offer.
The problem is,
I think basically, if an offer comes in high enough in there, I think some of the knocks on Slates don't go, oh, by the way, Marshall's going.
Well, this now is going to intensify in the next few weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, coming up to
January is going to be interesting.
And what I'm saying, all the targets should already be identified, and you should be making those, you know, contacts already, so that come January, boom, you're first in, done deal, loan move or buy-in. But you've got to think as well, for the owner, he had a bad experience under Mackay, and he had a very bad experience under Solskjaer, and he's probably thinking, I'm taking control of the reins. Yeah, it's my money, I'll do what I want with it. So I'll tell you, I'll speak to people within the game around Europe, and I'll get players sent into you. Then it comes about your manager's talent on how he coaches, how he sets up, can he change, can he adapt? Because a lot of these players will be coming from clubs, especially on the continent, where they've played different systems, and they expect to play different systems, and they expect the manager to have a lot of knowledge on coaching and tactics and blah. So,
well, while we're on the transfer in January, Nigel's done my work for me here, and he says, I feel sorry for Joe Mason, but he's lost form, basically. Need another striker. Would you go for any of these? Fraser Campbell, Lewis Grabban, Leonardo Aloha, Connor Wickham, Peter Crouch, as loans if not permanent. Any of those take your fancy?
I would like to see Fraser Campbell back. I think in the Championship, the way he works and the way he plays, to me, he will always get goals in the Championships, and he's got that turn of pace, which is what I think. But him playing off someone like him playing around Kenwyne Jones would be quite frightening, I think.
Well, he's at Palace, and I know they've just got about 20 strikers, haven't they? So he's getting very little game time.
Who else was there? Who else did you say?
Lewis Grabban.
Lewis Grabban, Leonardo Aloha, Connor Wickham, Peter Crouch.
I couldn't see Crouch really, could you?
No,
I mean, he's a bit so similar to Kenwyne,
yeah,
kind of in a way. I wouldn't see the point in having him
big
there.
bucks for him as well.
Yeah, and they would be a foot. And it sort of becomes a bit of a circus.
Connor Wickham, what's happened to Connor Wickham, huh? What a talented boy as well. Just, he had that end of season at Sunderland, and
he's at Palace as well, isn't he?
Yeah, it just hasn't seemed to happen for him.
But it's that problem, isn't it? I mean, Palace, I guess, only play with one striker. They've got, say, 10 strikers. You know, who plays?
Well, and we forgetting Idris Sardi.
Well, isn't
he the? He came on against.
Certainly on my list, and
he is debut against.
He is a very popular player. I can tell you just from looking at social media, looking at what is.
Is he just popular because everyone hopes he's going to be good, right?
Well, I think
let's please, for goodness' sake, let's hope he's good.
It comes with a good reputation. You know, but. You know, let's hope that he can, you know, hit the ground running and banging some goals for his own confidence first and foremost, and then, you know, give up to the team. But we've seen a lot of strikers come and flunk.
Well, I think there were a couple of issues. A, they weren't scoring goals, so just seeing a new striker turn up on the team sheet was exciting.
I think there was just hope, yeah.
And then secondly, having seen the 15 minutes, he looks like a classic Cardiff player in that he's strong and tough, puts himself about. His first touch probably needs a bit of work, but he was no shortage of energy. There was no shortage of effort, and you know,
exactly what they need.
Yeah.
That's what they need, and they want that directness and energy up front, I think. You know, you say Mason's slipping out of form, Sardi and Jones.
Well, I suppose that's the big conundrum we were talking about earlier.
Could
they play together?
Looking at that.
What do you think about Blakey? Do you think?
I want to see. I want to see Sardi play a few times. Because I'm not on a scouting mission, so I've not seen him play and what have you. If I'd seen him play 3 or 4 games, I know how I would fit him into what system, and how you best try and get the best out of him. But like I said to you Sunday, you want to see him a few games first, at least 20 minutes here and 20 minutes there, 20 minutes here. Just me before, but. He looked exciting when he came on. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, and the one person everybody's been talking about this weekend, and you sort of brought him up, is Mr. Bellamy. I mean, he was at the match, and that got everybody excited. You said quite strongly yesterday you don't think he'd be the manager right now, but
no.
I've been thinking can't there be some kind of role at that club for him where his
I think he's
enthusiasm?
involved with the club. He's involved in the coaching and
maybe the youth sector,
academy and what have you. I think he is, but you know.
I mean, a bit of coaching with youngsters is one thing. To bring him in and actually make him a part of it.
It's massive. And, you know, you've got to ask, you know, first and foremost, I see him at the airport in the summer. We were coming back. I stood in queue. My wife and I stood in the queue there.
Where's this, Cardiff Airport?
No, this was in Murcia. And I was like, what are you doing here? I said, what are you doing here? He'd been golfing with his missus. I've been out on holiday. And no, I can tell you, speaking to Bellas, listen, he knows. That's what I like about. He's a realist, and Taffs usually are. Welsh people usually are. They just say how it is. And he said to me then, you know, I would need more experience to coach at academy level.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what he's doing. He's bit by bit trying to gain more experience.
He's always
But I don't think he's in the position, in his own mind, speaking to him, or if he's 100% on that's what he wants.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
I think he's still deciding where his next challenge or where his path's going to go after retiring. You know, he does a lot of good charity work and stuff.
Yeah.
He's in that position at the moment where he's like at a crossroads. You know what I mean? If he was 100% into it, he'd be into the academy all day, every day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I would suggest that because footballers know football.
Yeah.
You don't play for 20 years and don't understand football, and you don't play for 20 years and don't understand how the system around the club setup works and what makes things work and what things to look out for which are going to help you fail. So for me, at this moment in time, first team, he could go in, I'm sure he could coach sessions and whatever, but then it's what people don't realise, it's like standing up in front of a crowd and speaking.
Yeah.
When it comes to it, not very many people are confident in doing it. I know players who beast centre-half players I played with, and then I won't name any names, but he went into management or coaching, and he had to give a talk before the game, and apparently, this is a big brute centre-half as well.
Yeah.
Because he was so nervous.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it takes, you know, people go, oh yeah, manager. But for me, you've got to have had experience standing up, you know, tactically telling people blah, 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 blah. It's not just as simple as saying, oh, you played, you're a great player, you make a great manager. We know that's not the case.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
The thing was-
and we don't want to put too much pressure on him. Do you know what I
But
mean?
the thing with the Bellamy
if he's going to
thing-
come in, let him do it when he is. Don't force someone to do something because you'll never get the best out of them. If they do it within their own time and it's what they want to do, yeah, then you'll get the best out of them because they'll apply themselves because they want to be there.
The Bellamy thing is a wish fulfillment by fans.
That's all it is.
Yeah, yeah.
At this point. But again, not to rub it in, but because Slade is quite is not really a popular guy. People looking at Bellamy as an absolute legend, going, my God, imagine Bellamy was in
Bellas goes in and first 6 games he has a torrid and the players don't react and he doesn't get on with 1 or 2, which is quite possible. with Craig.
1 or 2.
You know what I mean? He doesn't get on 1 or 2 and it doesn't. What the fans going to be saying? Oh, it was a stupid idea to bring him in. He was never experienced. You know.
Well, they're fans.
It's like a
That's what
jigsaw,
they do,
isn't it?
right?
It's like a jigsaw.
He'd have more goodwill than Russell Slade.
What I like
I'm sure
though,
that was written
Blakey,
by Steve Tucker.
what I like though was the fact that just him being at the game raised so much excitement after 6 months of apathy.
I thought he was at
Suddenly
most of the games, but you're telling me no. I just assumed he was there.
No,
I'm told
no,
not
he doesn't go to
to.
many games. He doesn't go to many games.
And he's there, and suddenly there's a buzz, and there hasn't been a buzz about anything for so long. It's like that one thing.
And
people
they
grab
won,
hold of.
But that buzz
he was there.
That
It's a
buzz
good
can
sign.
that buzz can go as quickly as a game, Gaz.
Yeah,
5 bad defeats, 3 losses on a spin,
as Gary Monk is finding out
Right.
now. Exactly.
9 games, a run of 9 games. I know he's won 1 in 9, I think. And
They were just beating Man U, not that.
right. So and now all of a sudden, within 9 games,
Public enemy number one.
Well, it's the wheels have started in motion. Is he the right man? You know, I said on Call Rob on the weekend, he's been touted for England manager last season.
Yeah. Liverpool manager not long ago.
It was earlier this season.
It might have been this season, but you know, that snap reaction. Someone said to me, "Oh, you're more passionate about Swansea and Cardiff." It's nothing to do about passionate about. Exactly, like, you know, we ain't passionate about our own club. Of course we are. The point I'm trying to make is that snap judgment, that snap reaction. Do you know what I mean? So, you know,
Modern football.
my mum would say, "Careful what you wish for, kid, because you might just get it. You might just get what you don't really truly
modern
want."
Football.
You know what I mean? Everyone wants instant success, and one thing in football that doesn't change: success. You know, takes an eternity to build. You know, it can be ruined in a split second.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, build. You know, with some foresight. Build with future in mind. Don't just build for the day.
That's what Cardiff have never done.
No,
That's why
They've never had any long-term.
No, it's been quick
sort of
fix,
planning.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's always
The
bring something in
entire
quick.
history.
This will work. This will. It's always. That's what the club's been like since I've ever known it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Can't see
Well,
that
we're
change.
running out of time. I wanted to get onto some international stuff, but last week, Tux, you said this was a pivotal week in the season. One defeat, one win. Are you happy? Are you happy they're on the right track of this pivotal?
Yeah, because it went the other way around for us, didn't it? I thought we'd beat Leeds and struggle against Reading.
That's right. Yeah.
But we lost to Leeds
And then turned it all round.
and then done Reading.
I think right now
It's a bit
you've got
weird,
to say,
isn't it?
you've got to say that you've got to be reasonably happy, but you've got to be reasonably happy with results and where they are in the table.
Where they are in the table,
I think
the way they're playing.
I was about to say. I think the big
that's the
doubts
worry.
start to come when you look at
'Cause if
the
you're-
way they're playing, the way they're being lined up to play.
It's quite easy to see Cardiff at the moment. Like I said, if Marshall doesn't have a great game and Kenwyn then has a 4-game drought, it's quite easily to see Cardiff getting pammed a few games. Do you know what I mean? Which can really, boom. It isn't at the moment. It hasn't happened at the moment. And you've just come off the back of the win. You've got 2 weeks now. You know, prepare like mad. You know, don't over-prepare, but prepare.
Kenwyn back in Trinidad
Prepare. Well,
Read my
you know,
mind. Problem.
it comes with the territory.
Right,
Yeah, I
let's talk about that. I mean, Slades has had a little bit, not a moan, but
What are they playing over? Is that like a World?
like they're playing World Cup
Oh, it's
qualifiers.
a
They
World
got
Cup
two. He's
Well,
going.
at least that's got
He's
some
going
kind
to
of purpose
Florida.
behind it, I suppose.
He's flying to Florida today.
I wish
Then they're
I
playing
was.
Guatemala.
I wish I was with him in his suitcase.
It's Guatemala Wednesday.
Snaps it open. Hello, I just come to interview you.
Fly me out.
sure
That's
he-
what, hang on,
he'd
that's
be
what we
more than
should do,
welcome.
actually. Fly me out, then I'll do an exclusive interview
Yeah,
with him.
that would be great.
Might
wouldn't
take
it?
me 3 weeks to get hold of him, but
So it's Guatemala and USA, and it's 2 big games for Trinidad. To be
Right,
fair.
okay.
And we spoke quite passionately about
Yeah,
this
yeah.
yesterday, about how the Cardiff manager shouldn't really be saying anything about that. You're just letting a guy go and give him your best wishes. Yes, you're frustrated, but
yeah. Well, you get a lot more respect as well back. Do you know what I mean? It's your home country. You know what I mean? It's like, would you like a manager to be saying in the Premier League or in the Championship, you know, I don't want him to go away with Wales, and
I think that was
Well,
Sir
we've
Alex
had that,
Ferguson,
yeah.
wasn't it?
we had it with Wenger, didn't we?
Yeah, but we didn't like
last
it.
week. Yeah.
You don't
No,
want
nobody
it.
likes it.
Why? Because it makes the country results suffer. He's one of the, whoever it was, we weren't blessed with like an array of players that we got like a 60 pool player we can choose from. It was a small pool of players.
I do actually think it's more the way that sometimes I mean, probably a better example is Bruno Manga
Well, yeah,
with
Slade did-
Gabon.
Slade did explain this, didn't he? in
He
fairness?
went into it in great detail, saying they can't get in, he not so much got a problem going, it's the way they're treated while they're there.
He
And
said
he can't get any
specifically-
information from them. How are they
speak
training?
to
What are
the
they
player.
doing with him? Well, I think they mean when he's out
Well,
there.
speak to the
you know.
player. He's not training from morning till night. Speak
No,
to the
it's-
player.
He seemed to suggest that the Gabon FA, or whatever they call
Well, then,
themselves,
like I'm
are
saying,
not-
if you can't speak and get sense out of someone in the association, he's your player. Speak to him direct.
This was the issue I had with Kenwyn when he got injured. and stayed in Trinidad for however long it was.
He stayed there for quite a while.
Yeah,
didn't he? There was all
Wouldn't you?
talk. He was coming back tomorrow. I'm like, yeah, don't blame him. Trinidad or rainy Cardiff.
You'll know
Trinidad,
better than me,
Cancel the ticket.
You'll know better than me, but it seemed as though Slade didn't know.
Well, it did, because I was in quite close contact with Slade, just when we were talking back in the old days. And he was going, oh, he's leaving today, and he'll be here tomorrow. And then it would transpire a couple of days later. That in fact, I think I wrote a story saying he's coming back, and then no, he's still in Trinidad. I was like, well, I was told the other day he's coming back. No. There was a certain amount of confusion as to when he was coming back.
That to me is outrageous, because if you're the manager, you're ringing the players, you say, get back here now, we need to have a look at you.
Well,
you're our star player.
Your chief executive should be in touch with the FA.
Yeah.
Shouldn't actually be a manager. Your manager can speak to the country's manager, no problem, yeah. But like the administration side of things, flight, what time, blah, 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 that's all sorted, secretaries and chief executives and that part of the club. So if there's a problem, the chief executive, invite them over or go and see them, go and sort it out and put it to bed. But why? Because it's affecting our club.
Yeah, but he's the star player, as we've said a million times.
It's affecting our club. So if you do have a problem, my point is, don't argue it in the press.
Yeah.
As we've seen with Chris Coleman.
Yeah.
That's, as highly respected and as high regard I hold Arsene Wenger in, Cookie was right.
Yeah.
You can't have a go at me after. For number one, he's our player as much as he's yours. This is his country, and he's played 150 minutes of football, and then you turn around and saying, "Oh, because it was something they done." Well, you can't blame us. It's not like Arsenal's got the greatest record on medical. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
I thought Chris Coleman was well within his rights to say what he said. So
he was, but
if there's a problem with players going abroad, whether it's Gabon, whether it's Trinidad and Tobago, whether it's Republic of Ireland, whether it was Spain, that's where the magnitude of the club and how serious you're set up, if it means I have to jump on a plane and fly there and chew someone's head off, then I'll do it. If it means I have to fly there and reason with someone, then I'll do it. Whatever it takes, I'll do for the benefit of my club.
Well, this is what he said. He believes they could have got Kenwyn fit quicker had they had more information, had they known exactly what he was, and if he was back here. And I get that. I get the frustration.
But I would say, okay, if I was injured and I was away with Wales, and Dave Bassett was ringing Mark Hughes and couldn't get any sense, Harry would ring me direct. And say, what is the problem? Yeah. And I'd say, I think it's my hamstring or my calf, or I went over on my ankle, it's on the outside, blah, blah, blah. They would say something like, right, we'll be in touch with the FA, blah, blah, or take your phone now and go to the physio.
Yeah, I want to speak to him.
Take your phone and go to the manager, yeah? And he'd speak to him direct like that. No matter what, it shouldn't be played out in the press. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It can be quite easily dealt with if you want to.
Well, I mean, he's the problem is now Slade. He'll have the two FAs against him now.
Exactly.
They're not going to want to help him.
Exactly my point. And he's then got it's a ready-made excuse. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I'm saying well, don't escalate the problem. Diffuse it and go and sort it. Not you personally, because you probably haven't got the time. You're out on the training pitch. But someone, secretary, representative, chief executive, board member, whatever it takes, go and send someone.
You're talking probably the two star players as well in Manga and Jones, to be honest.
Okay.
It needs sorting.
Cool.
Anyway,
Glad Marshall's only got to go to Scotland.
Well, that's it. I mean, you could drive. You could get a taxi up there to go and see him, couldn't you? I mean, that's the beauty. Hey, it'd be nice to talk. It's a long time between now and the Derby game, so let's have a little chat about Wales.
Wales.
Friday night, Holland. That's quite exciting, isn't it?
Qualify.
Those underdogs, Holland. They're not even in the Euros.
That's right.
What a load of rubbish! I can't believe it. What have they ever done? Provided world football down the years?
Plus,
Nothing.
Bale and Ramsey both out.
Well, that was as predictable as you can imagine. Really, I mean, fair play. I suppose they had them for the qualifiers.
It seems. I mean, obviously,
chance to look at some new players, Gaz.
Yeah.
Got to be a chance for some fringy guys.
I would say I would say most definitely.
Cardiff,
And I
you're
would say it's
preparing-
probably they're not. I hate to say it, but I would say it's probably an opportunity that it's one game, and I doubt if we played our full strength 11, it would be a bit of a celebrity match sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if Chris Coleman now can start to look at beyond the Euros as well, have half an eye on it. I know he's got to be fully focused on it, but this game now, just the sheer fact that you haven't got the 2-star players.
It's great, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and you know what certain players,
Great if you bought tickets.
certain players can do. You know, Joe Ledley's and what have you.
Yeah.
Okay. Whether you draft someone into the team to sit on the bench or draft someone into the team to play, it's probably a great opportunity to see of who we can take to Holland.
Squad.
Not to Holland.
France.
To France.
Don't go to Holland, you'll miss it. Miles away. Yeah, Blakey, we'll see you in Holland.
See you in Amsterdam.
Okay, he's off. Like, let's get to France. No, but of course, I mean, when they're going to have this squad, they're going to be in France, going to this training camp. It's a squad thing.
Yeah, it's like what if
heaven
Bale
for
gets-
fame,
yeah,
you
that,
get an injury, you're out there in the first game against, I don't know, France or whatever, or whoever, Germany. You don't want to say Bale gets in because he's probably irreplaceable, but somebody gets in, you know.
But this is your chance to put a plan together for if he does.
Yeah,
Against
you're
the
going to
side.
have these backup guys. You're going to have to be there, and they can't just be backup guys lying on a sun lounge. I mean, they have to say so and so's injured. You're in. You know, they'll need a goalkeeper like that.
Yeah.
Surely, if Hennessy breaks his arm in the first 10 minutes of the opening thing, which I beg never happens, you're going to have to bring a dude
We've just
in.
seen in the Rugby World Cup what can happen.
Exactly.
If a few injuries come
halfpenny.
along.
There'll be friendlies ahead
Wait
of
4
it as
years,
well.
you get a week before it, you get injured.
Yeah,
Absolute
that's it,
killer.
that can happen.
And I
We know
remember
the-
it happened to Wayne Rooney that time when he done his metatarsal. He still went, but it was, you know, we've never been the same. So for me, yeah, it's a prime example. Prime time.
Just wrap
But
Bale
he
in
knows what
cotton
he's
wool,
doing. I
guys.
would have thought. Yeah,
Don't
that's
play him
probably
again.
Where he is, he's probably thinking, right, I'm gonna, you know, draft him into the squad, let him get to know people, so he doesn't feel like.
Because there's going to be players, isn't there, over the coming
come
months
to
now,
fore.
who are going to force, who are going to force the issue. Maybe not into first team contention, but definitely a seat on the plane to France, or the boat, or the whatever, however
Indeed,
it gets to
I
France.
can't see him go by boat. I'd be very surprised. But
Surely
anyway.
he'll fly. They got the money.
Okay, that's great. I think that's a wrap. Obviously, it's a couple of weeks till the next Cardiff game, but so we'll have all the breaking Bluebirds news right here, and also the Wales game on Friday night. So stay with us on Wales Online. Thank you.